Welcome to Gordon, Dark Tales. On a cold Christmas night in New York City, the streets lay silent under a heavy blanket of snow. Logan Pierce, a young man eager to return home to his wife and daughter, encountered a mysterious old man who uttered an ominous warning, a curse disguised as a prophecy. What should have been a blessed evening turned into a nightmare. As Logan hurried through the frozen streets, a series of chilling encounters awaited him. Shadows twisted into shapes that defied logic, and a sinister figure in red began to stalk him. The joyous spirit of Christmas melted into something far darker, something he couldn't escape. What happens on his journey home will change his life forever. From this moment on, you are about to step into the world of Gordon, where the darkest secrets are waiting to be uncovered. For the best experience, put on your headphones, close your eyes, and stay alert. Pay close attention, for hidden within this tale may be the keys to unlocking its mysteries. But if fear begins to creep in, there's still time to turn back.
All right, James, I'm heading out. I've wrapped up everything for the day.
Got it, Logan. Merry Christmas. I'll be out of here soon, too.
Merry Christmas to you too, James. I better get going. Sophie and my little Emma are waiting for me. Finally, I thought this day would never end. The cold hit me the second I stepped outside. The wind was sharp, cutting through my coat like it wasn't even there. Why does it always feel colder when you're trying to get home? The sidewalks were covered in snow, turning every step into a careful balancing act. Okay, let's check the schedule. Next train in 10 minutes. All right, if I pick up the pace, I can make it. The city felt strange tonight. Usually, even in the dead of winter, New York buzzed with life. But now, it's like someone turned the volume way down. Man, this street feels longer than usual. My breath fogged up in front of me as I turned the corner. All right, if I cut through here, I can save a few minutes. That's when I saw him, an old man, huddled against the wall of a closed cafe, buried in layers of mismatched coats. Another homeless guy. Man, it must be freezing out here. He's probably been sitting there all day. Okay, just keep walking. Don't make eye contact, and he might not.
Sir, do you have any change? Anything would help, please.
Damn it. I slowed for a moment, my hand instinctively going to my pocket, but then I remembered Sophie's voice in my head. Don't forget to pick up something for Emma before you come home. And now, with only 10 minutes to catch my train... Sorry, I don't have anything, I said quickly, barely turning my head. I kept walking, hoping he'd just leave it at that. But then...
You'll agree, Attius, before the night is over.
I froze. His voice wasn't pleading anymore. It was sharp, deliberate. It cut through the air like the wind, but colder. What the hell? Did he just say that? I turned my head slightly, enough to see him out of the corner of my eye. He wasn't even looking at me anymore, just staring down at the snow like I hadn't even passed by. For a second I thought about going back. Maybe I misheard. Or maybe I should have given him something. No, don't be ridiculous, Logan. It's just some old guy talking nonsense. Keep moving. But I couldn't shake it, those words. You'll regret this. They weren't the kind of thing you just forget. I picked up my pace, trying to push the whole thing out of my mind. All right, focus. Get to the train, get home, forget about it. But the streets didn't feel the same anymore. The silence wasn't peaceful. It was heavy, like the city itself was watching me, and the wind. It had changed. Before, it was cold but natural. Now it feels like it's whispering, carrying something I can't quite hear. I glanced over my shoulder, half expecting to see the old man following me. But the street was empty. Okay, Logan, calm down. It's just your imagination. You're tired, it's late, and it's cold. Nothing weird is going on. The lights from the Christmas decorations flickered above me, casting shadows on the snow, shadows that seemed to stretch further than they should have. Come on, stop it. Stop looking for things that aren't there. I passed another corner, stepping carefully over a patch of ice. Why does it feel like the whole world is slowing down? My footsteps sounded louder than usual, crunching in the snow, echoing off the buildings. And the sound. Behind me. It was faint, barely there, like the shuffle of feet or something being dragged. I stopped, my heart pounding, and turned around. Nothing. Just the empty street, the snow, and those damn flickering lights. You're hearing things, Logan, that's all. Just keep going. But my feet didn't want to move. My body was frozen, like some part of me knew something wasn't right. Okay, you're acting crazy. He's not following you. No one's following you. Just go. I forced myself forward, faster this time, almost jogging now. The snow crunched harder under my boots, and my breath came out in fast clouds. By the time I reached the train station, my hands were shaking. From the cold, or something else? All right, Logan, you've got this. Train's coming in 2 minutes. I took the stairs 2 at a time, the cold biting at my ankles through my shoes. The entrance to the station was quiet, too quiet, even for this hour. The snow had already crept down into the first few steps, leaving slushy footprints that led nowhere. The turnstiles squeaked as I pushed through. A faint humming noise filled the air, maybe from the old lights overhead. Half of them were flickering. Typical. I made my way down to the platform. It wasn't packed like usual, but there were still people, heads down, scrolling through their phones, shoulders hunched against the cold. Everyone looked half dead, just waiting for the day to end. Man, I should call Sophie when I get on the train, tell her I'm on my way. Emma's probably asleep already, though. Damn, I'm late. The electronic sign above blinked. Next train, 2 minutes. I exhaled a foggy breath and leaned against a pillar. The cold from the metal seeped through my coat, and then I noticed it. Something about the air felt heavy. Not just cold, but heavy, like the pressure had dropped, the kind of feeling you get right before a thunderstorm. And I looked around. What the hell, did the lights get dimmer? There was a sound, faint, distant, like a thud or a dragging noise. I turned toward the far end of the platform. The tunnel stretched into pure darkness. A few flickering lights lined the ceiling, but they barely helped. I squinted, trying to focus. Is someone there? And then I saw it. At the far end of the opposite platform, a figure, tall, unnaturally still. He wore a tattered red coat, the fur lining soaked and darkened by age and ice. Thick black buttons ran down the front, each glinting faintly in the flickering light. The belt, old, cracked leather, was cinched tight around his waist. But somehow the coat looked heavy, too big for his frame. But it was his face, white as frost, the beard, long, tangled, and heavy with ice, framed a face carved with deep, unnatural lines. Like the skin was stitched together. His eyes, glowing, burning red like embers in a dying fire. And that grin, wide and wrong, curled under a crooked mustache that didn't look human. Wait, was someone just there? I straightened up, my back pulling away from the pillar. My eyes darted back and forth across the opposite platform. Heralded? Nothing, just empty benches and flickering lights. You're losing it, Logan. Calm down. The sound came again, closer. A dragging noise, but now it was mixed with something else, like bells. Faint, jingling bells. I turned my head, trying to pinpoint where it was coming from, but the echoes in the station made it impossible. I looked at the people around me. Nobody noticed. They were still buried in their phones, their faces pale in the artificial light. Am I the only one hearing this? I took a step forward, peering into the tunnel where my train was supposed to come. Nothing but darkness. The sound grew louder. Slow, deliberate steps accompanied by the dragging. And those bells. My heart was racing. I backed up until I hit the pillar again. The tunnel lights flickered. Once. Twice. And then for the briefest moment, I saw him again. Through the darkness, just past where the light stopped, a face. Pale as snow, eyes glowing faint red, like embers. He was wearing that hat, that stupid hat, and the grin. It wasn't human. Oh God, what the hell is that? The light snapped back on, bright and blinding. I winced, shielding my eyes. When I looked again, the tunnel was empty. Silent. A rush of air hit my face as the train finally came roaring into the station. People stirred, moving toward the edge of the platform as if nothing had happened. I stayed where I was, my hands shaking. I couldn't look at the tunnel anymore. I just stepped onto the train, found an empty seat, and sat down.
It's nothing. You're just tired, Logan. You're imagining things.
But as the doors closed and the train started moving, I looked at the window. My reflection stared back at me. And for a second, just a split second, I swore I saw something else standing in the dark behind me. All right, Logan, you've got this. Just keep walking. I checked my phone for the time as I left the station. 20 minutes. I can still make it home before Sophie freaks out. The snow had gotten heavier. Each flake caught the glow of the streetlights before disappearing into the slush that now coated the sidewalks. I turned onto a side street. It wasn't exactly my usual route, but it'd shave off a few minutes. The moment I stepped into the alley, I regretted it. The walls were tall, narrow, and grimy, squeezing the space tighter than I remembered. Trash bags were piled against one side, frozen stiff in the cold. The dim light from a single flickering lamp barely made it past the entrance. The rest of the alley dissolved into shadows. Why the hell did I come this way? My shoes crunched against the icy pavement as I moved fast. Just keep going, Logan. It's fine. It's nothing. Somewhere ahead, something scraped. A faint dragging sound. I stopped. The air felt colder, heavier. The kind of cold that sank through your coat and into your bones.
What was that?
I peered ahead. I couldn't see much. Just a long, dark stretch of the alley, broken up by pockets of light and shadows. And then I heard it, a low, rasping laugh. It didn't sound like it came from a person. Not really. It was too slow, too deliberate, like someone testing their voice for the first time in years. No. Nope, not doing this. I spun around to leave. My breath caught in my throat. There he was, at the far end of the alley, near the entrance I'd just walked through. A figure stood, motionless. The red coat was unmistakable, even at this distance. It hung off him, soaked and heavy. The thick black buttons caught the faint light, almost shining. My heart pounded. No, I'm imagining this. He's not real. I blinked. He was gone. The alley was empty again. I turned back around, my hands shaking, and started walking, faster this time. My footsteps echoed off the walls. I pulled back the blanket and looked over my shoulder. It's nothing, Logan. Just get through the alley. Get home. The dragging sound started again. Closer now. I looked over my shoulder. Nothing. I kept moving. My feet slipped on the icy pavement as I half jogged toward the light at the other end of the alley. The laughter came again, soft and broken. Like it was right behind me. I didn't look back. I couldn't. I stumbled out of the alley and into the next street, breathing hard. My hands were numb and my face burned from the cold air. I turned back one last time. The alley was empty, silent, but the laughter was still ringing in my ears. Finally, the alley was behind me. My breath was visible in the icy air. Each exhale sharp and shallow. I tried to calm down, shaking off the lingering unease from what I'd seen. It's nothing, Logan, just your imagination. But even as I tried to reassure myself, my legs moved quicker, desperate to get away from whatever that was. As I approached the bridge, my relief was short-lived. Yellow tape stretched across the entrance, fluttering weakly in the cold breeze. The blue and red flashes of police lights illuminated the scene. An ambulance was parked nearby, its back doors open. A few officers stood at the blockade, their breath fogging as they spoke to each other. Great. Just great. Excuse me, I need to cross the bridge. My apartment's right on the other side. The officer, tall and bulky under his heavy jacket, held up a hand.
Sorry, sir. The bridge is closed. Accident. No one's crossing tonight.
But it's just... I pointed vaguely toward the other side. It's right there. Please. I just need to get home. The officer didn't budge.
It's a crime scene. You'll have to find another way. There's a pedestrian bridge about 5 blocks north. That's your best bet.
I opened my mouth to argue, but stopped. His expression said it all. This wasn't a debate. Fine, I muttered. shoving my hands deep into my coat pockets. 5 blocks. Great. As I turned away, I glanced at my watch. 11:58. 2 minutes to midnight. 2 minutes to Christmas. And here I am, walking aimlessly in the freezing cold. I didn't rush. There wasn't a point anymore. My footsteps were slow, crunching softly against the snow-covered sidewalk. The world around me felt muted, like even the city had decided to take the night off. Why does it feel so quiet? My phone buzzed in my pocket. A small part of me lit up. Sophie. She must be wondering where I am. I pulled it out, already imagining her worried voice. But it wasn't Sophie. The name on the screen made my stomach drop. Rachel. For a moment I just stared at the notification. A single message. Merry Christmas, Logan. Thinking of you. Damn it. I shoved the phone back into my pocket without replying. The buzz felt like it was still vibrating in my chest. Why now? Why tonight? My feet moved automatically, but my mind was elsewhere. On Sophie. On Emma. On everything I'd built and everything I was throwing away. What the hell am I doing? Rachel had been convenient. A distraction. Something to make the monotony of work feel exciting again. But Sophie, she was my everything. She was the one who'd been there through it all. The good, the bad, the ugly. And Emma. God. Emma didn't deserve any of this. The thought of my daughter hit me like a punch to the gut. Her little face lighting up every time I walked through the door. Her laugh when I lifted her onto my shoulders. The way she said, "Daddy," like it was the most important word in the world. And here I am, lying to them both, sneaking around, pretending I'm someone I'm not. The snow crunched louder under my boots as I stepped off the sidewalk, cutting through an empty park to save time. My breath came faster, not from exertion, but from the weight in my chest. What if Sophie finds out? What if she already knows? I stopped walking, staring down at my reflection in a frozen puddle. The face staring back looked tired, older, someone I didn't recognize. What happened to me? When did I become this person? The phone buzzed again. I didn't check it. I couldn't. Instead, I closed my eyes. For the first time in what felt like years, I prayed. Not out loud, not for anyone else to hear, but deep inside. God, if you're listening, I don't even know what to ask for. A second chance? Forgiveness? Hell, I don't even know if I deserve it. But Sophie does. Emma does. Just help me figure out how to fix this, please. When I opened my eyes, the world felt colder but clearer. My breath was steady again. The weight hadn't lifted, not completely, but it was bearable. I started walking again, slowly, deliberately, one step at a time. This ends tonight. No more lies. No more Rachel. I owe them that much. As I rounded the corner, the pedestrian bridge came into view, empty and silent under the moonlight. For the first time in hours, I felt like I was heading in the right direction. Finally, just a few more blocks. The pedestrian bridge stretched ahead of me, its railings lined with a thin layer of snow. Each step echoed slightly in the quiet night, the sound bouncing off the empty city around me. My heart was lighter, relieved almost. Sophie and Emma must be waiting for me. I'll walk through that door and everything will be okay. But then I saw it. Something on the bridge about halfway across. A shape. Low to the ground, still, but oddly out of place. It was too far to make out. I stopped walking. The air felt heavier. A chill crept up my spine, more than the cold wind could explain. What is that? Took a step closer, then another. My breathing slowed as my boots crunched softly on the snow. The closer I got, the harder it was to ignore the unease clawing at my chest. When I was just a few steps away, I stopped again. My mouth felt dry. It was a sack. No, this isn't right. I took another step, peering closer. The sack wasn't completely covered in snow like the rest of the bridge. It looked fresh, like it had just been placed there. My heart pounded as I crouched down, staring at the dark stains streaking across the fabric. Paint? Oil? No. It's too red. I reached out, but my hand stopped short. I couldn't bring myself to touch it. Instead, my eyes caught something sticking out of the knot at the top. A scrap of paper. My stomach twisted. I grabbed the paper, the chill of it biting into my skin, The words were scrawled in messy, almost frantic handwriting. "Merry Christmas, Logan." My breath hitched. I dropped the paper like it burned me. My legs trembled, my hands shook. The first thought that came to mind wasn't the sack, wasn't the message. It was Emma. "Oh God, Emma, please no." And then I heard it. A low, rasping laugh. Faint at first, but it grew louder, echoing around me. No. I spun around, scanning the empty bridge. My pulse pounded in my ears. There was nothing, no one. But the laugh kept coming, deep and broken, as if the world itself was mocking me. I couldn't move. My legs felt rooted to the ground. "Run, Logan." I turned and bolted, leaving the sack and the laughter behind. The bridge felt endless as my boots slipped on the icy surface. My lungs burned, but I didn't stop. The world blurred around me, every step pounding out the same desperate thought. Emma. Sophie. Get home. Now. Images flashed in my mind. Emma's laugh. Her tiny hands reaching for mine. Sophie's tired smile as she tried to keep our family together. "You failed them, Logan. You failed them." I reached the building. My legs screamed in protest as I took the stairs two at a time, my breath ragged and harsh. When I reached our floor, the sight of the door made me freeze. It wasn't locked. The handle was slightly turned, the door ajar. No, this can't be happening. I pushed it open, stepping inside. My voice cracked as I called out, "Sophie, Emma." The apartment was quiet, too quiet. My chest tightened as I moved further in, my eyes darting around for any sign of them. And then I saw them. On the couch, bundled under a blanket, Sophie's arm draped protectively over Emma, who stirred at the sound of my voice.
"Daddy?"
She mumbled, rubbing her eyes. Sophie blinked awake, sitting up.
"Logan, what's wrong?"
I couldn't speak. My legs gave out, and I sank to my knees. The relief was overwhelming, crushing me as tears blurred my vision. They were safe, they were okay. Sophie frowned, concern etched across her face.
"Logan, are you hurt? What happened?"
But I couldn't answer. I could only stare at them, my heart hammering in my chest. They're here, they're safe, thank God. Finally, peace. I stood there, watching Sophie and Emma on the couch, their warmth melting away every ounce of fear I had carried on my way home.
"Daddy, I saved something for you."
Emma's voice pulled me from my thoughts. She held a small box, wrapped haphazardly in festive paper. Her little hands shook with excitement.
"Go ahead."
Sophie said, smiling softly.
"I found it on sale, thought it'd suit you for tonight."
I hesitated, my fingers brushing the edge of the box. My heart thudded as I peeled back the paper and opened it. Inside was a Santa suit, but not just any suit. The red fabric looked heavy, worn, and familiar. The fur trim was darkened, aged. The buttons, thick and black, gleamed faintly under the soft light of the tree. I couldn't speak. My thoughts swirled.
Logan, you okay?
I nodded slowly, forcing a smile. Yeah, just surprised, that's all. He turned his attention to me. Emma tugged at my arm, her big, innocent eyes looking up at me.
Daddy, do you like it?
I swallowed hard, glancing at the suit before turning back to her. Of course, sweetheart. I love it. I bent down, pulling her into a hug. I love you. Merry Christmas. I walked to the window, the box still in my hand, and stared out at the snow falling softly over the city. The glow of streetlights reflected faintly on the icy rooftops below. Behind me, Emma's giggles filled the room, mingling with Sophie's laughter. But my mind stayed on the suit.
Logan arrived home to find his family safe and sound. Snow fell gently outside, and the warmth of his home seemed to melt away the horrors of the night. But something was different. This Christmas Eve would be etched in his memory forever. On the surface, everything seemed normal. Emma laughed, Sophie smiled, and the world kept turning as if nothing had happened. But that was just on the surface. Deep down, Logan knew. He knew something had followed him through the streets, something beyond the grasp of reason. He couldn't shake what he saw, what he felt. The eerie laughter still echoed in his mind. The sack, the note, and now, the suit. That suit wasn't just a harmless gift. No, it was something more. The weight of the fabric, the dark shade of red, the gleaming buttons catching the light of the Christmas tree, they all spoke of a purpose, a meaning he couldn't yet comprehend. And you, listener, do you believe in coincidences? Or do you think fate has a way of weaving its own sinister plans? Think about it. The beggar in the alley. His words, almost like a curse, or maybe a warning. Could that man have known something Logan didn't? Was Logan's journey through the snowy streets a reflection of his own sins? Or was it all a premonition, a glimpse into something far greater yet to unfold? Logan must face the truth. He must share his secrets. But will he have the courage? Can he escape the weight of this night? And you, have you faced your fears? Because the stories we bring you here are not for the faint of heart. They will test your courage, challenge your grasp of what is real and what is not. So if you're ready to explore the unknown, if mysteries fascinate you as much as they terrify you, leave a like on this video. Show us that you're here, that you want to uncover the darkest secrets of this world. Subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell so you don't miss the next tale. But beware. If fear consumes you, perhaps it's better to stop now. Keep the lights on and forget this story ever existed. And what about Logan? Will he hold on to his sanity, or has he already been marked by something he cannot escape? What do you think? Tell us in the comments what really happened that Christmas Eve. Did the old man in the alley cast a curse, or was he trying to warn Logan? And what about the suit? Was it simply a gift, or a sign of something darker? Perhaps the answers lie buried in the snow, or maybe they're waiting for you in the next story.